Hey there, welcome to PhD Weekly, episode 12. This is a weekly series where I reflect on my past week in grad school, sharing a lesson or idea that I'm learning or trying to implement. I'm RKPhD, your host. I am a PhD student at Baylor College of Medicine working on my computational biosciences PhD. And so I'm going to be sharing with you really the process behind publishing a paper. In this past week, I was fortunate enough to be able to help publish a research paper, and it's my first research paper that I got to help publish. So I want to just share what that process looked like for you. The actual research paper itself is about a microbe called Bacillus subtilis and sporulation. Sporulation is really just the process of how microbes go ahead and form into spores. And if you're not sure what spores are, that is just the dormant, tough version of the cell. And it allows for the microbe to be able to live in really harsh and extreme environments. And so our paper was on Bacillus subtilis and sporulation. The overall process behind publishing the paper, well, I'll get into it in a second, but first, feelings update. Overall, I'd say feeling accomplished. I'm feeling like even though there was a lot happening and a lot of deadlines at the same time, I was able to really knock out all the things I needed to get done, or at least most of the things I wanted to get done. And of course, there's always still more work to be done, but I think I handled the last few weeks with as best I could, right? I put my best foot forward and things happened. Now, my process for publishing the paper, I was not part of the ideation part of the research, so I didn't come up with the research ideas or anything. My previous undergraduate mentor reached out after I was doing some analysis for my previous project. He reached out asking, well, can you help with some analysis on this other project we're working on? So that took about 2 months going back and forth with my PI or with my mentor and going back and forth with the authors, getting some ideas of how we wanted to go ahead and visualize this data and make edits to the data and like how we're actually displaying the data. And then from there, we had a first draft manuscript of the paper. The mentor and the two co-first author PIs, they decided what journal to go ahead and publish in. I was not part of that. So they decided to publish in Frontiers in Microbiology. And from there, we submitted, and that took about a month, maybe a few weeks, just shy of a month to hear back from the reviewers. In your email, you should get comments from reviewers. And so now you have a few weeks to be able to go through all the different comments that the three reviewers have for your paper. They're going to be providing you feedback as to make sure you're including this reference or make sure you're deleting this specific sentence because it doesn't make sense, whatever it might be. And you have to go through each line of their comments and make updates to your paper. So for me, it was really fun to be able to go ahead and edit, update the paper, but also I was figuring out how to go ahead and make an accessible dashboard for the reviewers just before we submitted to the journal. So what we wanted to do as a team was, hey, how can we go about creating a real life dashboard that readers can go ahead and interact with our data? And so that was really my job of figuring out how to do that. So I just used GitHub Pages as well as Plotly to go ahead and create an interactive plot that was hosted via GitHub Pages. I'd never done that before, so that was definitely a fun learning experience. So I got to help with creating this new little website to visualize our data as well as make edits and update the reviewers' comments. And so overall, we went ahead and emailed, respond back to the reviewers' comments. That took about another month to then hear back. So overall, from the point of our first submission, a month later, we heard back from the reviewers. It took us a few weeks to go ahead and respond back to the reviewers' comments. Which, fun fact, you can actually request for a deadline extension if you don't respond in time. So when you hear back from the reviewers, you have a few weeks to go ahead and respond back to them. And so the idea is if you just need more time, it's actually a very simple, you just click ask for like request an extension and they give you the extension. I don't know if that's how it works in other journals. That's how I work with Frontiers. It's not like a big deal of, oh my gosh, you have to either pay extra or it's like where it's not going to favor you if you have to ask for an extension. It was very low key, just hit extension, done. Then from responding to the reviewers' comments, that took about another few weeks to month. So overall, from beginning to having the paper accepted, it took about 3 months. And then once the paper was accepted, I'd say they published it within about a week or two on the Frontiers website. So really cool. It's really fun to be able to see your research out there live. Hopefully, like, it helps someone in the scientific community. And it was just a really interesting process, really fun to see, and excited to eventually lead my own project and learn more about that process. And I'll make sure to share that with you guys. If you have a specific question about the process behind publishing a research paper, go ahead and comment down below, and I'm happy to make a separate video diving a little deeper into what it is to really publish a research paper. I didn't want to get too into the weeds right now. Just wanted to share my sort of first ideas, first impressions with you guys. If you want to check out the research, you can just look up on my Google Scholar profile, Ryan King Perez, or you can go on my GitHub, Perez the Dev. But this is in Frontiers in Microbiology 2025. A highlight for this week definitely had to be the Brass Scholar Salute. Brass is the Baylor Research Advocates for Student Scientists program. They're really a community that's focused on investing in the student and the researchers in terms of mentorship, in terms of financial support, in terms of networking. So feeling very lucky and honored to be part of the program. Out of about 100 students that join Baylor College of Medicine every year, they only take about 4 students. And usually it's mostly MD PhD and then 1 to 2 PhD students. So feeling very lucky and grateful. It was great to just be able to network with so many people they're genuinely invested in your work, like literally, because most people that are there as a donor, investing in your research or one of your guys' research. But also it's so fun to be able to network and converse with people who are just genuinely interested in what it is you're doing. Like, I think it's really fun to be able to talk to other people about things that you find exciting and see that they're just as excited about your research and about the impact that you get to make. It's very fun. Everybody's so very welcoming, very kind. Yeah, just very nice people. So that definitely really enjoyed that. Of course, the other highlight I would say was publishing the research paper. I thought that was really cool, but I really celebrated once we went ahead and got the paper submitted. So that was a few weeks ago. And then, of course, the stressor for the week, I had my midterm for Foundations A. This is a class meant to really build everyone up from the ground up in terms of whether you've taken biology coursework or never taken biology coursework. We're going to teach you all the fundamentals needed to get up to speed. But it's a lot of different topics. So just taking time to review that. After taking the midterm, I'm feeling good. I feel like definitely it's going to be around an 85% again, anywhere from 80 to 90%, maybe higher, hopefully. But overall, I feel like I knew what I knew. And there were definitely some questions I knew that I did not know, but hopefully I was able to guess right or just maybe problem solve as best as I could. Overall, feeling good with that exam, but that was certainly the biggest stressor, preparing for that exam and just practicing, really. If you have any questions in terms of the process behind publishing a research paper, go ahead, comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to make a more directed, specific video getting down into the nitty-gritty. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.